Hi, I'm C.W. McCall. You probably remember me from the hit song Convoy. You know, I've spent a lot of time on the road over the years, but today the American road is changing. There are new laws for truck and bus drivers to make the road safer for every motorist. Laws we can all be proud of. Laws that recognize not just anyone can get behind the wheel and call themselves a professional. That's what I want to talk about today. Handling a big rig involves a lot more than just driving. Let's face it, trucks and buses are enormous machines. They keep our country going, but they can also be dangerous or even deadly. That's why we need true professionals at the wheel, people who drive with maturity and courtesy and skill and pride. Whether a company employee or an independent owner-operator, someone who drives cross-country or across the streets of their hometown, professional drivers all share a special pride in being a part of one of America's most essential industries. And pride is what the new commercial driver license is all about. The National Commercial Driver License Program is good for our highways and good for the drivers. You've probably heard about the new commercial driver license, and you'd like to hear more about it and how it affects us all. The CDL is about safety and pride, and it's about the best drivers in America, our truck and bus drivers. It's time to show the American public again that the highway transportation industry is a safety-oriented industry, and that once and for all, the pride's back inside.
The pride's back inside once more.
Those who drive a rig are a vital part of the American economy. The products they transport affect the lives of millions of people every day. But the most impressive thing about professional drivers is their commitment to safety on the highways. When you look at the billions of miles logged every year by professional drivers and compare the number of accidents to miles, it's clear that the vast majority of these drivers are conscientious, courteous citizens of the road. Unfortunately, the American public is more familiar with a handful of bad apples who are wrecking things for all of us. It's time we stopped those bad apples and made the highways safer. And that's what the commercial driver license will do.
Professional drivers agree that there's been a need to upgrade the requirements of driving large vehicles. Passengers and other motorists need to know that there's a qualified professional behind the wheel. You know, the inner-city bus industry has worked for and supports the commercial driver's license. It's a major step in restoring the public confidence we once enjoyed.
Well, the way I look at it, the CDL will get all the bad drivers off the road and the good drivers on the road, which will make my life a lot easier and a lot safer.
I've been a professional driver for 15 years. I've logged more than 1.5 million miles on the nation's highways without a single accident. True professional drivers are just like me. We obey all traffic laws and safety regulations and work hard to demonstrate our commitment to safety and courtesy to other motorists. Unfortunately, a few drivers don't share this commitment. They push themselves beyond the limits of the law and their own abilities. Unfortunately, it's these drivers other motorists remember instead of the majority of true professionals. Professional drivers set high standards for ourselves, standards which keep us the safest drivers in the world. We support the National Commercial Driver's License Program. It allows states to set the same standards for commercial drivers that we set for ourselves. This will make certain that all commercial drivers demonstrate their knowledge and skills before they are licensed. It'll make sure that all drivers have the skills and training they need for the type of vehicle they'll be driving. The CDL will keep our standards high and the best drivers behind the wheel.
There's no better person to tell us more about the CDL law than Senator John Danforth, the man who authored the CDL bill and guided it through Congress to become law. Senator?
One value in the program is to create real standards for driving a truck or bus so that people know how to do it before they get behind the wheel. Not just anybody can do it. Secondly, to prevent the abuse of having multiple licenses building up points on licenses, passing them on. That was wrong. That was something that we fixed. So I think that there is this double value in the program. I think also it's going to instill a sense of professional pride in people who have to have great skill and people who have tremendous responsibility when they're out on the highway, and that's the professional driver. Not everybody can get a license to practice medicine. Not everybody can get a license to practice law. You have to have training, you have to have skills, you have to meet qualifications in order to do it. That's what a profession is, as opposed to just any job. And I think ultimately it's important for people who are in the profession of taking other people's lives in their hands to see themselves as professionals and to try to make sure that the regulatory bodies that are enforcing this law really do it in a way that maintains the highest professional standards. If we believe that driving a truck is a profession, if we believe that it is something that requires qualifications, then the drivers have to see themselves in that light. It's one thing for Congress to pass a law. It's quite another thing to have a program that really works as it was intended to do by the lawmakers. Ultimately, the responsibility for licensing is always going to be a state responsibility, not a federal responsibility. State governments are going to have to implement this in an effective way, in a way that makes sense, that has the right kind of motivation behind it. I think that this program is going to save people's lives. I think it probably already has.
Also, most people want to know exactly what this new law is, how it'll work, and how it'll affect drivers. By 1992, all states will be issuing commercial driver licenses. The CDL program requires that all drivers have only one license, issued only by their home state. Any other licenses are illegal and can mean big fines for drivers and their employers. To get a license, commercial truck and bus drivers will be expected to pass uniform CDL knowledge and driving tests. Drivers should check with their state motor vehicle office to find out when their state will begin issuing CDLs. Also, some experienced professional drivers may be exempted from certain tests. Now, who's affected by this law? All commercial drivers who drive vehicles weighing more than 26,000 pounds, or vehicles designed to carry 16 or more people, or placarded vehicles transporting hazardous materials. Individual states will have the option to waive the CDL requirements for certain vehicles, farm vehicles and firefighting equipment, for example. There's some tough new penalties, too. Alcohol and drugs take their toll on the nation's highways as well as on the public image of a proud profession. The commercial driver license is a smart move for drivers and for the public that depends on them. For drivers, it means tough standards to assure that only the best will drive and that the bad apples won't be around to ruin the professional's reputation. For the public, it'll provide assurance that from now on, all people who drive will be qualified and responsible licensed professionals. It's a necessary first step toward improving the safety of all drivers and demonstrating that among the true professionals, the rule of the road is safety.
Ride has 18 wheels and rolls on shore, and it's written